You are an important, significant woman who matters and belongs. You, as a woman with worth, cannot afford to believe lies. My name is Natalie Hughes. I'm a life, mindset, and manifestation coach in my business and on my platform. My job is to help professional women, ambitious women, co-create emotionally fulfilled, purpose-driven lives. I work with leaders. I lead leaders living on the leading edge of creative self-expression, the leading edge of creation. And today's episode, we're talking about the consequences of believing lies. What kind of lies? The lies that say you can't do it, the lies that say you're not capable, the lies that say you're broken, right? Lies. Some people call them unsupportive thoughts. Some people call them limiting beliefs. Some people refer to it as subconscious programming, socialization. You boil it all down and it's lies. Now, today's episode is probably going to get deep, going to get serious because I'm talking about real shit. So just putting that right there at the beginning. And let's jump into it. First, I'm going to tell you about my grandmother, my mother's mother, who was a psychic like me, except they didn't call it psychic. I don't know what they called it. But she was a pastor. I knew that she had an experience where she was like guest pastoring at places, but she actually had her own church. She was the kind of woman that people called when they were sick, and she would go to their homes and she would lay hands on them, pray over them. Some people refer to it as Reiki. It's just a different form of energy healing. That was my grandmother. And I've learned recently through conversation with my mom that, excuse me, girl, I'm not crying. I have been talking over the past several days, and my voice is like trying not to get lost. So we gotta speed it up, try to make this short and quick, because I'm going live tomorrow on TikTok from, I wasn't planning on mentioning it. I got to double check the time because I don't want to say the wrong thing. I'm going live on TikTok tomorrow from 7 p.m. to 8:30 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. So if you want to come and hang out with me, we're talking about allowing yourself to be seen, authentically being yourself, and building your platform or your reputation. It's going to be really good. So I'll have more information on that in the description, but let's refocus our mind. That's the reason why I'm trying to make sure the voice is good and, just put the girl on vocal rest for the rest of the day after we're done with this and maybe a reading. Okay. So my grandmother, I learned recently, struggled with her leadership role in the church because there were male pastors that felt like a woman shouldn't stand. I think they call it the pulpit, whatever the fuck it's called. There were men in the church who didn't believe that a woman could be called to lead in the same capacity that a man could be called to lead. And we're just going to have to deal with my voice fucking cracking for the full episode at this goddamn point. Men felt that women cannot be called to lead, which is obviously a fucking lie. Because when you're sick and you're in your home, you were not calling male pastors to pray over you and speak life into you and heal you. It wasn't happening. It's obviously a lie that she couldn't or shouldn't have led in an even greater way. But long story short, my grandmother, in one way or another, believed that lie. And there was a cap on her success. There was a cap on her legacy, so much so that I didn't know that she had a church until recently. I lived a very long time. When I was a little girl growing up, she didn't have that church. So obviously certain things happened, and the church was not something that was sustained. The church was not something that was supported, because you need money to fund things, and you need people who are showing up, and you need, to be supported. And also in like church communities, there's a lot of community element, churches collaborating with one another, pastors going from one church to guest speak at another church. So as a woman, if you don't have the support of other churches, or people don't think that you should lead, or people think you're great as a guest speaker who is, standing down in front of the audience, not up behind the podium though. That's crazy. That's too much. If you're living in a world where people are telling you what you can't do because you're a woman, you can't lead because you're a woman, you can have some success, but you can't have as much success as men because, that's not how God created things. The whole rib from the Adam and the subservient thing, you get it. And unfortunately, my grandmother believed the lie. My grandmother believed the lie that she couldn't lead because she was a woman. My grandmother believed the lie that she could not lead because she was a woman. And there were other experiences that my grandmother had. She was into fashion. She could sew clothes and put things together. She's a very fashionable, fabulous woman. Her clothing business was not something that was really successful. Her clothing business was not something that created wealth for her. It wasn't something that created wealth for her children. Because my grandmother believed the lie. She believed the lie that she couldn't lead. And we're going to really briefly talk about my great-grandmother. My great-grandmother also believed the lie that she couldn't lead. She also believed the lie that she wasn't worthy of respect. I recently learned my grandmother was born just over 100 years before me. And nearly on the same day. She was born on March 13th. I was born on March 12th, nearly 100 years before me. And my grandmother's husband was a man who she worked for. He was a man, when she met him, he was a man who was married, and she was hired like as a maid. She was cleaning his house. And then he obviously got divorced and married my grandmother, my great-grandmother. And this man was over 10 years older than my grandmother, maybe like 15 years, I think, or like 11. I don't fucking remember, but he was over 10 years older than my grandmother. And that power dynamic and lack of respect how can I even put that into words? My great-grandmother called her husband Mr. First name. His name was Willie. My great-grandmother called her husband Mr. Willie all the time. Never just called him by his first name. And it wasn't just, because it's a sign of respect. No. She was not seen as an equal. She was not seen as somebody who was worthy of being respected. I'm not gonna cry. We will talk more about that and the parallels to my own life at another time. How is this relevant? Because my great-grandmother believed a lie. She believed a lie that she wasn't the same as a man. She believed a lie that she wasn't as worthy of respect as a man. And on my platform, we've talked about this. We've talked about the differences between men and women. I think there are biological differences. I think that we have different needs. I think that our bodies work in different ways, right? As women, we are kind of run by our ovarian cycles, and the things that are going on within our body heavily influence us. Men run in a different way, right? So there's differences between men and women, but we're still both worthy of respect. Nonetheless, we're still both beings that bring incredible worth and value to the table. Nonetheless, we're both worthy of respect. So when I say that a woman is the same as a man, I don't mean that a woman has to function like a man to be worthy of respect. I mean that a woman in her divine femininity is worthy of respect, period, full stop, end of the sentence. My grandmother believed a lie. That she wasn't worthy of respect. And then she gave birth to, my great-grandmother believed a lie that she wasn't worthy of respect. And then she gave birth to my grandmother, who was called and gifted and a powerful healer, who was under the impression that she couldn't lead. That she couldn't lead the same way that a man could lead, that she did not deserve to have the same level of success and respect that a man had. She experienced it in her marriage. She experienced it in her church, and her beliefs about her own leadership negatively impacted her business ventures, negatively impacted her dreams and the manifestation of them, or the lack thereof. My grandmother had 6 daughters. 6 daughters. And none of those women are leading. Leading in their own ways. We don't need to get into the nuances of it. None of those women are leading. Not leading like the daughter of an anointed woman who's a powerful healer. Not leading like they are connected to themselves on a soul level, giving their gifts with the world. My grandmother had 6 daughters and 3 sons. She had 9 kids in total. My grandmother had 6 daughters. Different gifts of their own. None of them are ambitious. None of them are moving towards their goals. My grandmother believed a lie, and she didn't step up fully into her potential. And my grandmother gave birth to daughters who believed that lie, and they don't even consciously understand that they're living out the consequences of what their mother didn't do. I listened to a conversation one of my aunts was having with my mother when she was talking about one of my cousins, which is one of the reasons why nobody in my family knows my business at all. Anyway, like the side note 2.5, this is the reason why I don't fuck with y'all, but that's neither here nor there. She was having a conversation with my mother about one of my cousins. She was saying she has all of these ideas, all of these things that she wants to do, but She doesn't follow through on any of them. She gets bored. She this and this and this. And I'm like, first of all, I should not know this much about her struggle. I do not seek out this information. This is very rare for me, okay? If you were to call me up and ask me what's the family tea, I would not know, and that's very deliberate, okay? I don't do the mess, all right? But this just so happened to align perfectly with what I feel guided to talk about in today's episode, okay? So here we are, all right? So, my aunt is talking to my mom, and then my aunt says, and I don't remember exactly what she said. This is a conversation that just happened too. She basically was just saying, that's what she said. She said, I don't have the motivation to go after anything at all. And in my head, before I closed the door, because I was on the way from the bathroom back to my room when I overheard them. So close my door. But before I closed my door, I thought to myself, it's not motivation that you lack. It's self-esteem. It's belief in yourself. And that's what we are talking about, right? Because we are in the middle of the launching of the I Can and I Should course. It's a self-esteem boosting course. What is your self-esteem? Your self-esteem is what you believe that you can achieve. Your self-esteem is what you believe that you can do. Your self-esteem is how much you believe in your own ability to create positive change and impact in your life. And if you do not have high self-esteem, if you have low self-esteem, you will not believe in your ability to achieve anything. And if you don't believe in your ability to create positive change, then why the fuck are you going to act? You're not. Because that's futile. Futile? I've heard it pronounced a lot of different ways. It doesn't matter. Move on. Now we need to get into this because I'm recording this on August 22nd, early in the morning. And we had to get into that Leo prideful energy one more good time before the sun moved into the sign of Virgo. I literally looked it up online. The sun is currently at 29 degrees in the sign of Leo. So we're right on the cusp of it moving into the sign of Virgo. We need that Leo energy, okay? And I need you to hear me as we collectively tap into this last bit of Leo energy. I need you to hear me when I tell you that you are a significant, important woman who matters and who belongs. You are a significant, important woman who matters and who belongs. You cannot afford to believe a lie. My grandmother had a calling. My grandmother had a gift. She could have probably 110% most definitely been Joel Osteen levels of successful or whatever that looked like back in the 1900s. You know what I'm saying? Because she was that talented. I don't know a lot of things about her for reasons that we will not discuss here, but I do know that she was a powerful fucking healer. And I do know that she was tuned in, tapped in, turned on to God. I do know that she received messages from God. I do know that she was a very powerful psychic. How many people went underserved because she believed a lie that she couldn't fucking lead? How many people, how many members of her congregation did not make their way there because she believed a lie that she couldn't lead? How many people were underserved because she believed a lie? In her own family, how many of her children are underserved because she believed a lie? Because if you grow up seeing your mother work for her goals, fail, and give up, you grow up seeing your mother live out low self-esteem. You grow up seeing your mother live out the story that I'm not worthy, that I'm not good enough, that I'm not on the same level as a man, that I don't deserve to be respected. I don't deserve to be taken care of, not just in career, but in personal relationships, emotionally. My family is fucked up. Sorry, but that's the gospel truth. It's not funny, but the way that I'm saying it is actually hilarious. And I don't mean they're fucked up beyond repair, but I mean, who's seeking out the repair? Why wouldn't they be seeking out the repair? Well, because low self-esteem, right? The consequences of you not showing up are greater. Now, hold on, put a pin in that. Let's go back to this Leo season energy. What does that mean, Natalie? I'm an important, significant woman who matters and belongs. That means you're not fighting for a seat at the table. The seat at the table is already there. It has your name on it, and it's collecting dust. It is collecting cobwebs, waiting for your ass to sit in it because you're too busy believing a lie that you don't deserve to be in the room, because you're too busy believing a lie that you're not good enough, that your ideas aren't creative enough, that you're not likable enough, that because one person somewhere with some measly ass amount of power doesn't like you, they don't like how you talk, they don't like how you speak, they don't like the choices and decisions that you make, they don't like the way that you set boundaries with your work. They don't like the way that you communicate. They don't like who you are. They don't like the way that you present yourself. They don't like the way that you dress and show up. You believe the lie that one lousy bitch with a fucking morsel of power has the ability and the capacity to stop you from reaching your motherfucking destiny, what was already written. There is a chair with your name on it in that room. And you are an important, significant woman who matters and belongs. What does that mean? That means if you do not show up, that motherfucking chair stays empty. You do not show up, that chair stays empty, and your community remains underserved. Think of that shit. You are an important, significant woman who matters and belongs. Are you feeling the Leo energy as I'm saying this? You are an important, significant woman who matters and belongs. That's my definition of self-worth. You are an important, significant woman who matters and belongs. That means there is nobody else who can do what I can do. That means there is nobody else who can serve in the way that I can serve. Period. Point blank. Full stop. End of the sentence. You are an important, significant woman who matters and belongs. So if you don't write that book, if you don't make that movie, if you don't create that album, if you don't write that proposal, if you don't reach that next level, if you don't attract that next client, they remain underserved. Now we get to take it to my most favorite part of this. Whitney Houston. And I am going to cry. Damn it. There's nothing wrong with feelings and emotions. My period is like on the way right now. But this is also just a very emotional thing for me. I love Whitney Houston. Whitney Houston impacted my life in a way that I didn't even know that she was impacting my life. Whitney Houston passed away before I could really recognize what an icon that she was in my life. Whitney Houston is an important, significant woman who matters and who belongs. If Whitney Houston hadn't stepped into her place in the entertainment industry, if Whitney Houston hadn't stepped into her destiny as a creator, we would not have gotten Cinderella, the Black Cinderella with Brandy, one of my favorite childhood movies of all time. I used to watch it when I would go to my mom's job. They had it on VHS. I would watch that fucking movie again and again and again. One of my most favorite movies. I cry every time. We wouldn't have got that movie. We wouldn't have got that song, Impossible, where she's quite literally saying, what the fuck is impossible? Impossible doesn't exist. Impossible isn't real. Because of people who are willing to think differently, because of people who are willing to push the envelope, because of people who are willing to challenge the idea of impossible things are happening every single fucking day. That's what she's saying in that song, quite literally. We got the Princess Diaries and the Princess Diaries 2, which are, again, some of my favorite childhood movies ever in life. I was just in the pool this morning before I even was thinking about this. I was just in the pool this morning thinking, a queen is never late. Everyone else is simply early. Whitney Houston, her company, hold on because I had to look it up. Her company, where is it? She has a production company, Brown House Productions. If Whitney Houston had not stepped up, we would not have Cinderella with Brandy. We would not have The Princess Diaries. And we would not have, I saved the best for last. You know it's my absolute fucking favorite. It's the Cheetah Girls. Whitney Houston produced, executive produced, and co-produced Cinderella, The Princess Diaries 2, The Cheetah Girls, and The Cheetah Girls fucking 2. I would not be here if the Cheetah Girls did not exist. There's an entire generation of young women who needed to grow up singing. I don't want to be like Cinderella, sitting in a dark, cold, dusty cellar, waiting for somebody to come and set me free. I don't want to be like somebody who's waiting for a handsome prince to come and save me. On my own, I will survive. I don't want to be anybody else. I would rather rescue my motherfucking self. A generation of young girls watching young women committed to their dreams, committed to making their dreams possible, committed to making their dreams a reality. Whitney Houston's mind, Whitney Houston's energy, Whitney Houston's power went into that. And the moon right now is in Aries. And I'm pretty 100% sure that Whitney Houston was also an Aries moon. This amazing woman. The Cheetah Girls delivers one of the most infamous lines in cinema, the entire history of cinema. And it's Raven's character. She says, if he can't respect my art, then he can't have my heart. And that is so fucking real. Can you imagine the power? Well, I mean, you don't have to imagine it because you see it. You're listening to it. Hello. The positive consequences of that work, the positive consequences that that work had on young girls who are watching this from the ages of 0 to 8 with their subconscious minds completely fucking blown open. Just receiving and believing every single thing that they see. Receiving and believing that if I have dreams and I have goals, one of the most powerful scenes of the Cheetah Girls 2. And I am crying just a little bit because I really fucking care about this shit. The Cheetah Girls 2, when the entire group leaves New York City and they go to Barcelona, Spain. They find this contest in like a fucking magazine. And they call to say, hi, we'd like to be a part of this contest. And the woman on the line says, oh, I'm so sorry, girls. The contest is closed. Applications are closed. We're not accepting new groups, new entries, new talent, blah, blah, blah. And they're on that phone call. And Raven-Symoné's character is like, actually, I'm not going to accept this now. And so they start singing one of their songs. And after they sing one of their songs, the woman on the phone is like, hold on, let me see what I can do. And then obviously they go to fucking Barcelona, Spain. That one scene, that one line, that one moment communicated to an entire generation of young girls. Do not believe the lie that the door is closed for you. when you have been called, when you have been inspired. Oh my God. I saw a tweet the other day. I was like, Whitney Houston has no business being dead. And when I tell you, man, I fucking believe that shit. And I don't mean like, oh, she wasn't supposed to die. No, when your soul is ready to go, you go. But like, fuck. We know that there was the Cheetah Girls 2, there was the Cheetah Girls 1, and there was the Cheetah Girls 3. The Cheetah Girls 3 fell flat. And I used to think growing up it's because Raven Simone wasn't in it, but who else wasn't in it? Whitney Houston. Watch all 3 of those motherfucking movies. You know something is different. You know something is off. You know something is not there. And as much as I love Raven, and of course she brought something fabulous to it, what's really, really not there that we don't see behind the scenes is Whitney Houston's motherfucking energy, her power, her vision, her creativity, her soul. Whitney Houston is an important, significant woman who matters, and she belonged in that industry. She belonged giving those gifts to the world, to young women everywhere. I would not be here recording this podcast episode, pouring life into you the way that I do, if the Cheetah Girls didn't exist, if the Princess Diaries didn't exist, if Cinderella, the black version with Brandy, didn't exist. I would not be here. This business would not be what the fuck it is. When I say that you are an important, significant woman who matters and belongs, I mean imagine. Who the fuck would I be if the Cheetah Girls didn't exist? I can't even imagine. I can't fathom the consequences of that. Like, my brain is like, what are you even saying to me right now? What are you even asking me right now? That's not even a place that I want to go. Beyonce has a song. It's called Diva. In that song, she says, 50 million round the world, and they said that I couldn't get it. I done got so sick and filthy with Benjis, that's code for Benjamins, hundreds. I done got so sick and filthy with Benjis, I can't spend it. Oh, you gonna be talking shit? You act like I just got up in it, been the number one diva in this game for a minute. And we could keep going all day, but I already said the most important part. 50 million around the world, and they said that I couldn't get it. Where would Beyonce be if she believed the lie? That she couldn't make that much, that she couldn't be that successful, that she was mediocre, that she wasn't good enough. Beyonce, arguably the greatest entertainer of all time. Now, older people won't say it because they have more of an emotional connection to Michael Jackson than I do, but I'll say it. Beyonce is far greater than Michael Jackson. I'm not necessarily talking about just from a talent standpoint, but businesses. She owns businesses. Come on now. Like, no. Okay? Show me the tape of the black woman running for president of the United States with a Michael Jackson song playing in the background while he was alive, back in time. You understand what I'm saying? Like, come on now. You can't act like that woman's not a fucking living legend. Come on. Abso-fucking-lutely not. Beyonce went from 50 million around the world, and they said that I couldn't get it. Look at all of this success and money that I have that they said that I couldn't have. I didn't believe the lie. I am a diva. To years later creating the song Freedom, to nearly 10 years after the song Freedom is released, Kamala Harris, who is not the first Black woman running for president, but the first Black woman running for president who really, really has a fucking shot. And I did predict this years ago in a natal chart reading that is still up on my YouTube channel, shameless plug. So go check that out next. When Kamala Harris creates that video, when Kamala Harris walks out on stage and Freedom by Beyonce is playing in the background. How different would that campaign be if Freedom wasn't there? If that song wasn't there in the background? Could it still hit? Sure. Freedom does something different to it. Freedom has worth. That track has worth. Beyonce's voice and her energy and her power, the change and transformation that she has gone through in her life, her skill set that she has developed to be able to sing and deliver and write and perform in the way that she does has power, has value. Beyonce, Giselle Knowles-Carter, is an important, significant woman who matters and belongs. That seat was always there. Even when it was 50 million around the world that they said that she couldn't get, that seat was always there. Her destiny was always to be that. To do that, to give that, to serve in that way. What would this election be if Beyonce didn't show up? What would this election be? What would this election be if Beyonce believed? 50 million around the world, not possible for her if she believed that lie. So what's the message? Let's bring this full circle now. I wouldn't be the woman that I am without Beyonce, Giselle Knowles-Carter. When I was traveling across the country, making money as I went along, doing tarot readings, I wasn't like, oh, making money. I've got money for the next couple of days, and I'm gonna make some more on top of that. No, I had the money to get the Airbnb. I had the money to get gas. I had the money to get food. The account is at zero. I need to book a new Airbnb tomorrow. I need more gas tomorrow. I need more food tonight. I was traveling across the country 3 times, making money as I went along. And on those first trips, well, not the very first one, but on the second trip that I took, I'm going up the coast into Oregon. I make it into Oregon. And I'm listening to the Carters album, Beyonce and her husband. I'm good on any MLK Boulevard. I'm good. It's a good song. I'm driving in Oregon and I see, turn here, this exit, Martin Luther King Jr. Boulevard. And don't judge me, okay? Because I wasn't a citizen of the world back then. I knew that there was MLK boulevards and parks, but I thought it was like a California thing. I thought it was like a Southern California thing. That's the only places that I had really been. I did not go to MLK Boulevard in New York City. I don't even know if that's a thing. So I'm driving in Oregon and I see MLK Boulevard and I'm listening to this song and something clicks in me that says you're safe. You're okay. Because I am a woman traveling by myself. At that point, I wasn't even 21 yet. I am a woman traveling by herself all over the country. I am going farther and farther away from home. I'm in Oregon, when it was just me going to Joshua Tree. I was just a couple of hours away from home. When it was just me going up to Sacramento, I obviously had family in Sacramento. Now I'm in Oregon. I'm getting farther and farther away from any of my relatives. I saw that MLK Boulevard and I said, okay, you're safe. You're safe. You're good. You're safe. And that became my thing. Not just when I was traveling up the coast, but when I was traveling across the country, when I was traveling across the South. I'm good on any MLK Boulevard. I'm good. Like, I'm really good. And then what happened? I started booking Airbnbs and hotels. I did not do this on purpose, but I was on MLK fucking Boulevard. And then I drove through Arkansas. And then because I was thinking about Martin Luther King, we're driving through Arkansas. And I go, Arkansas? Like the Little Rock 9, Arkansas? First time driving through Arkansas, so then I have to pull over and go to the Little Rock 9 high school. And because this was the middle of COVID, this was a global pandemic, not only was I traveling across the country making money as I went along, but it was a global pandemic. Everybody was at home except for me. Never got COVID. Not one time. Amen. I feel like Cat Williams. 21 felonies, no convictions. Prison and jail are not the same. When I was traveling, making money as I went along, because I had Martin Luther King on the brain, I see Arkansas, I see Little Rock 9, it's COVID, there's nobody there, they're not doing tours, but I got to walk the grounds by myself. And this is up on my personal Instagram. One day my personal Instagram will be public again and you can see all of this stuff. But anyway, I didn't get to walk the grounds like inside the school, but I walked around outside and all the stuff. And it was powerful. And it was the first time that shit was so real for me. Young women can change the world. These are high school girls. 9 Black girls. Where would we be? Hold on. Where would we be if the 9 little Black girls of the Little Rock 9 believed the lie that it was unsafe for them to integrate? Where would we be if those 9 little Black girls believed the lies that those adult white people were spewing at them every single day just on their way to fucking school? Where would we be? Where would I be? Part of my passions, a part of my purpose deals with Black and brown children and their right to education, not just any education, but high quality education. Education that fuels them, education that supports them in creatively expressing themselves and creating emotionally fulfilled, purpose-driven lives. I wouldn't even be able to fathom that had the Little Rock 9 believed those lies. There's an interconnectedness that's going on with us as human beings. You are a part of something greater. Your destiny is a part of something bigger. There is a seat. I don't know what industry it is for you, what industries it is for you, but there is a seat with your name on it. You are an important, significant woman who matters and belongs. If you do not show up, the seat stays empty. If you do not show up, that community remains underserved. And if the reason why you don't show up, the reason why you don't step up is because of a lie, Man, that's some bullshit. You don't have time for bullshit. You don't have time for lies. You don't have time for the lie that you can't do it. You don't have time for the lie that you're not capable. You don't have time for the lie that you're too girly. You don't have time for the lie that it can't be you. You don't have time. You can't afford to believe a fucking lie. The world is waiting for you. Future generations, your children are waiting for you. They're waiting for you to step up. They're waiting for you to fight, to believe in yourself, and to believe in your dream. Because although the lie is harmless, because it's just not true, if you can't debunk that lie, if you can't poke holes in that lie, if you can't overcome that lie, you will self-sabotage. You will give up when it looks tough. You will run away from challenges. You won't take action. The action you take won't yield the results that you want it to. You will look for excuses to give up, and your community will go underserved. I am a generational curse breaker. And I am a woman who serves generational curse breakers. So I know who you are and I know what you are. As a generational curse breaker, you can't afford to believe lies. You can't afford to believe that it's not possible for you. You can't afford to believe that your voice doesn't matter. You can't afford to believe that your creativity isn't good enough. You can't afford to believe that your ideas aren't good enough. What if Whitney Houston had believed the lie that her creative ideas weren't good enough? What if Whitney Houston hadn't believed that she was capable? Oh my God, I have eggs on the stove. Oh shit. Okay, that's it. That's all that I have. Check out my course. I can and I should. It's a self-esteem boosting course. It is made to help you accomplish, achieve, and manifest your goals with more ease, speed, and enjoyment than ever before. This is the course that you need to help you overcome those lies so that you can believe in yourself and believe in your ability to create the positive change that you have come here to create. The lies are not going to debunk themselves. Your mindset is not going to build out itself. It is your job. It is your responsibility. Your community is counting on you. If you give up now, then they go underserved. And who the fuck has time for that? Okay, I love you. Bye.